On today's Two on Your Side Town Hall, vaccinating Western New York, an update on the progress here in our region and some new information from those who may not be ready to get the shot just yet.
Plus, a dog meme is the new face of cryptocurrency. Why the coin that was once considered a joke is now the talk of the financial world.
And does the return of a social life seem like a lot? We're going to be talking with an expert as we begin Mental Health Awareness Month. And as a lot of folks have questions about our eventual post-pandemic life.
Lots to get to today, but topping our rundown on this Monday evening, new questions about whether herd immunity is still possible. It's a top story in the New York Times right now, with experts worried vaccination rates just aren't high enough to actually snuff out the virus. Yeah, our region and New York State in general are doing better than the country as a whole. As you can see here now, 46.6% of New Yorkers have gotten at least one dose of a vaccine. And here is some local information. Erie County, a lot higher than that, almost 49% here. Niagara County is pretty close to that statewide average at 44.5%. All of our other counties are in that light shade of gray, and that's because they're at least 2 percentage points below the state average. And Allegheny County has the lowest percentage in the state of people with at least one dose, clocking in at just 31.2%. And that New York Times article we mentioned says that herd immunity is unlikely because of variants and not enough people getting vaccinated quickly enough. The theory is that the virus will linger but become, quote, manageable as long as the most vulnerable get vaccinated.
We want to discuss all of that and more right now with Dr. Nancy Nielsen, who joins us live. She is Senior Associate Dean for Health Policy at UB's Medical School and, importantly, leads the planning team for vaccine distribution in our region. Dr. Nielsen, another smorgasbord of questions to ask you about tonight. We're glad to have you here.
Thanks, Michael.
And we're going to start right with that question, Dr. Nielsen, of herd immunity. Do you think it's still possible? And if not, what does that really mean?
I think it's still possible. I really do. Think about this. There's a whole population of people who we don't have eligible yet because they're kids. So as soon as we have approval for vaccine for the kids, that's going to help a lot. We are dealing with the vaccine reluctance and hesitancy, no doubt about that. And some creative things that we can certainly talk about if you want, have been used as sort of incentives. But I do think we can get to herd immunity. But suppose we don't. Suppose we really fall short and the variants are too fast and so on. Then what we have to do is not just concentrate on vaccines, but on treatments for this disease. But nobody should take this disease lightly and say, well, I don't have to get vaccinated now because we're never going to get to herd immunity. Oh, no. Protect yourself and your family. My goodness.
Dr. Nielsen, I have a two-part question here, and a bit of it is kind of breaking news. There are more outlets now reporting just to what you just mentioned, that the FDA is going to authorize the Pfizer vaccine for 12 to 15-year-olds possibly early next week. I wonder if you can react to that. You just talked about how that will open this up to a whole new population of people. And then the second question would be about those different ways in which you and other leaders here are trying to convince people who haven't gotten the vaccine yet to do it, and how you're kind of getting creative to accomplish that.
Well, first of all, you just made my day with that news. I had not seen that. We have been waiting for that. They've had the data. If you believe the Pfizer press release, it was spectacularly effective. I always wait till the scientists look at it. But this is really going to help a whole lot. So you made my day with that one. In terms of creativity, you know, look at what happened this past weekend with the prom-themed teen clinics at ECC North, South, and McKinley High School. I mean, Hawaiian hats and leis. I loved it. I loved it. I will tell you, they could have done more people than showed up, though. So while it's good, it's not good enough. So we really have to work harder, and we have to concentrate on the positives. This is how kids are going to go to proms. This is how the football teams are going to play. This is how the kids in junior high and middle school are going to go out for recess and play with each other and you know, really be able to socialize. This is the answer. So I do think we are still capable of getting to herd immunity because particularly with this great news about the Pfizer vaccine, which frankly I've been expecting for 3 weeks. So that sounds wonderful. But again, I want to go back to there's more strategies to be involved. I mean, we can still protect ourselves, and we still have to concentrate on treatments. We have much better treatments than we did in the beginning, and we have to continue to work on all fronts.
And Dr. Nielsen, we know there's a lot of reasons why people who have not yet been vaccinated are waiting, but one reason that we hear a lot from viewers is that the vaccines only have emergency use authorization. So they're waiting for that full FDA approval, thinking that's going to be a safer choice. Do you think that's going to happen soon? And how significant do you think that's really going to be? I
think that's a distinction without a difference, Kate, frankly. People should not wait for that. That's certainly going to happen. That has some technical implications, but from a clinical standpoint, it doesn't mean a thing. Go get the vaccine now. The EUA was very carefully studied. All the data was carefully studied.
Finally, Dr. Nielsen, I was unaware of this. The U.S. Army is apparently working on another COVID vaccine, and it's a bit of a different approach. What can you tell us about that and kind of where that progress stands?
Well, this is a really cool approach. This has been in the media for the last couple of weeks, and they are working on combining some ferritin, which is an iron-type compound, with some nanoparticles. It's a completely different way of getting the spike protein into the cells. Doesn't involve DNA at all, will trigger the immune system. It has just entered phase 1 trials. So the utility of that is that if we have variants that are appearing quickly, this can probably deal with a bunch of variants at the same time. So stay tuned. Clinical trials just started. Phase 1, it's a long way from phase 1 to phase 3, but by this time next year, we'll know whether that works as well.
Dr. Nancy Nielsen leads the planning team for vaccine distribution in Western New York and always makes us a little smarter too. Have a great week, Dr. Nielsen. We appreciate having you here.
Thanks.
All right, Doctor, thank you as always. Now to the story that has been really the most popular on our website all day. News of a big step forward in New York's reopening. This is going to happen in just a couple of weeks.
Yeah, come May 19th, 2 weeks from Wednesday, the state's getting rid of most capacity restrictions on businesses. And the governor specifically mentioned restaurants, museums, theaters, retail and shops, all places that have had to cut down on the number of people inside throughout the pandemic.
Yeah, but this is important. The governor also announced that the state will require places keep that 6-foot rule for social distancing. That is, unless they require everybody to be vaccinated or have a negative COVID test that was recently done. So you're probably wondering, how can you go to full capacity and still have everybody spaced? It seems like there's a disconnect there. Well, a reporter asked the governor about that today.
The city is not fully open then. I'm just trying to
It
understand.
is fully open, subject to 6 feet. Did I say that correctly?
Yeah, that's right.
Also, by the way, and I'm trying to promote this, if you have an operating plan for vaccinated people, then you can operate at less than 6 feet. You know, the vaccination numbers are going down. Well, why should I get vaccinated? There are benefits to being vaccinated beyond just you're safer and you won't hurt anyone else. You can go to a restaurant that allows vaccinated people. You can go to a theater. If I'm a theater owner, by the way, or I'm a baseball club, I'll tell you what I do. I say I propose more seats for vaccinated people. And if you're vaccinated, I don't have to live within 6 feet. So I have more seats for vaccinated people. And then non-vaccinated people, I adhere to the 6-foot rule. Now there's, you want to go to a bowl game? Get vaccinated. You want to go to a movie theater? Get vaccinated. You want to go to a restaurant? Get vaccinated.
So what makes clear really in that is that once May 19th comes around, most places are not suddenly going to just be packed like they were before. But if a place has a vaccine or a test requirement, you could see it looking a lot closer to normal, albeit with mask mandates still in effect if it's indoors.
And it looks like this is another one of those vaccine incentives that we've talked about with Dr. Nielsen. This one, though, leaving it up to private businesses to be the ones to say no vaccination, no service.
And legally, we've talked, private businesses certainly have the right to do that.